Carl Panzram, a name that strikes fear into the hearts of those who know his story. Born in 1891, Panzram's life was a tapestry woven with threads of violence, hatred, and unrelenting cruelty. His autobiography, written while incarcerated, reveals the dark depths of his soul. A life spent in and out of prison, committing heinous crimes, and leaving a trail of blood and misery in his wake. The brutality he exhibited was not just random, it was a calculated expression of his disdain for the human race. His confessions are chilling, offering a glimpse into the mind of a man who found pleasure in pain and joy in destruction. The story of Carl Panzram is not just one of a criminal, but a study in pure misanthropy. His actions were a declaration of war against society, and he waged this war with a ferocity that few could match. Prepare to meet Carl Panzram, the man who loved nothing but hate. Carl Panzram was born into a world of misery. His childhood was marred by abuse and neglect. Growing up in a large, impoverished family in Minnesota, he faced the harsh realities of life from an early age. His parents were strict, and discipline often came in the form of physical punishment. This environment of fear and pain left deep scars on young Carl, shaping his view of the world. At the age of 11, Panzram was sent to a reform school. It was here that he experienced unimaginable horrors. The so-called school was more of a prison, where boys were subjected to severe beatings and sexual abuse. The abuse he suffered here only served to fuel his growing hatred for humanity. Panzram's time in the reform school was a turning point. The boy who entered the reform school as a victim emerged as a young man filled with rage and a desire for revenge against society. The world had shown him no mercy, and he resolved to show none in return. Panzram's criminal career began as soon as he left the reform school. Homeless and angry, he turned to petty theft to survive. His first arrest came at the age of 14, when he was caught stealing. This marked the beginning of a long relationship with the criminal justice system. Each stint in jail only hardened him further, deepening his hatred for authority and society. As he grew older, Panzram's crimes became more serious. He graduated from petty theft to burglary and armed robbery. He traveled across the United States, leaving a trail of criminal activity in his wake. Panzram often found himself in violent confrontations with police, who he saw as the enemy. His criminal activities were not just about survival, they were acts of defiance. The years spent in and out of prison only served to deepen Panzram's resolve. Panzram was no longer just a criminal, he was a man on a mission to inflict as much suffering as he had endured. Carl Panzram's hatred knew no bounds. He confessed to committing at least 21 murders, though the true number may never be known. His victims were often chosen at random, and his methods were as brutal as they were varied. Panzram took pleasure in the act of killing, seeing it as the ultimate expression of his contempt for humanity. One of Panzram's most notorious crimes was the murder of a young boy in Salem, Massachusetts. He lured the boy with promises of work, only to brutally assault and kill him. In addition to murder, Panzram engaged in acts of piracy and arson. He once stole a yacht and used it to rob and kill sailors along the East Coast. He burned down churches, homes, and businesses, leaving destruction in his wake. Panzram's life was a testament to the destructive power of unchecked anger and resentment. Section 5. Chilling Confessions. Insights from Panzram's autobiography. Carl Panzram's autobiography is a chilling document. Written while he was in prison, it offers a rare glimpse into the mind of a man driven by pure hatred. His confessions are stark and unflinching, detailing the full extent of his crimes and the motivations behind them. Panzram's writing is devoid of remorse. Instead, it is filled with a cold, calculating rationality. He recounts his murders with a disturbing detachment, often referring to his victims as mere objects. He writes about the pleasure he derived from inflicting pain and the satisfaction he felt in seeing his victims suffer. One of the most chilling aspects of Panzram's autobiography is his complete lack of remorse. He does not seek forgiveness, nor does he offer any excuses for his actions. Panzram's autobiography also provides insight into his worldview. He saw society as inherently corrupt, and believed that his actions were a justified response to the injustices he had suffered. Section 6. The Climax of Carnage. Panzram's most notorious crimes. The true horror of Carl Panzram's life can be seen in his most notorious crimes. One of the most infamous was the murder of 3 young boys in Angola, a crime he committed while working on a plantation. Panzram lured the boys away, promising them money and food, only to brutally assault and kill them. Another chilling episode was Panzram's escape from a South African prison. After breaking out, he went on a rampage, committing a series of robberies and murders. Panzram also gained notoriety for his acts of piracy. He once commandeered a vessel off the coast of New York and sailed it to Africa, where he continued his reign of terror. These crimes represent the climax of Panzram's life of violence. They stand as a chilling reminder of the damage that unchecked anger and resentment can cause. Section 7. The Legacy of Loathing. Panzram's symbolism in criminal history. Carl Panzram's life and crimes have left an indelible mark on American criminal history. He is often cited as an example of pure misanthropy, a man whose hatred for humanity knew no bounds. Panzram's legacy is one of loathing and brutality, a symbol of the darkest aspects of the human soul. Panzram's autobiography has become a key text for those studying criminal psychology. His candid confessions offer valuable insights into the mind of a serial killer. Panzram's life is often used to illustrate the impact of childhood abuse and neglect on the development of criminal behavior. His story is a stark reminder of the importance of addressing the root causes of crime, rather than just its symptoms. Despite the horror of his crimes, Panzram's life has a certain tragic quality. His legacy is a reminder of the complex interplay between nature and nurture, and the ways in which society can shape an individual's destiny. Section 8. A Life in Chains. Panzram's Final Days and Execution. Carl Panzram spent his final years in prison, where he continued to be a model of defiance and hatred. Even behind bars, he found ways to express his contempt for authority. He was involved in numerous fights and altercations with guards and fellow inmates. Panzram's final days were marked by a sense of inevitability. He seemed to welcome the prospect of execution, seeing it as a release from a world he despised. In his final letters, Panzram expressed no regret for his actions. Instead, he reiterated his hatred for humanity and his desire to cause as much pain as possible. On September 5, 1930, Carl Panzram was executed by hanging at Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary. His execution was a quiet affair, witnessed by only a few prison officials. Panzram's story is a stark reminder of the potential for darkness within the human soul and the consequences of a life fueled by hatred. Section 9. Conclusion. Panzram's Everlasting Infamy. Carl Panzram's life is a study in hatred and brutality. From his abusive childhood to his final moments on the gallows, he was a man consumed by a desire to inflict pain. His crimes were a direct reflection of the anger and resentment that had been festering inside him for years. Panzram's legacy is one of loathing and fear. He is remembered as a symbol of pure misanthropy, a man whose hatred for humanity knew no bounds. His autobiography offers a chilling glimpse into the mind of a serial killer, providing valuable insights for those studying criminal psychology. Despite the horror of his crimes, there is a certain tragic quality to Panzram's story. His life is a stark reminder of the complex interplay between nature and nurture and the ways in which society can shape an individual's destiny. Panzram's legacy is one of everlasting infamy, a testament to the destructive power of hate.